Yo, you got audio now? Let me know if you guys got audio now. This will be about an hour long. My intention is to go over some past concepts that Lamar does a really good job of, and the coaches do a good job of. I'm going to be honest with you, this first one is not one of those. This is mesh, and I will pull all this back to the first play and annotate this and talk through it. To be honest, some of these are plays that I've talked about, in many other videos. So, if you've watched a lot of my videos or streams, some of it may be, repetitive content. But I didn't stream on Saturday morning, which I typically do. This is content or a video idea that I have to get done. So, it's cool if you're like, man, this is a Saturday night, coach is trying to stream and people are watching other stuff. I waited until the end of the Ohio State Notre Dame game because figured most football fans were watching it. Of course, up until that final touchdown by Ohio State pretty much put it away. But Notre Dame's defense did a great job. It was kind of fun to watch. So I will annotate these plays as we get moving along. If you're interested, at the top of the man, T-Dog, Romeo, Event Horizon, how you doing, man? You've been in my streams for a long time. Really appreciate you joining. You're going to get a little bit of an echo from me because I'm in a rather large room. Probably sounds like I'm talking in a school classroom or something. But I'm going to go over this first concept, and I don't think Lamar does a great job of mesh. It may be the way it's coached. It may be the situation. And one of the things that I've noticed about people who break down film, and it's me, it applies to me too, anyone, is like we think every example of the same concept has got to be read the same way. There's different game plan stuff that we're not aware of. There's different things that are said in the headset that we have no knowledge of. And there may be times where a guy is flashing wide open, like Rashad Bateman was there on that play, and we don't know what was just said to Lamar 25 seconds earlier by the coach. So we, in my opinion, a lot of times we judge things inaccurately. Or now if you see things consistently over the course of like 12 or 14 examples of the same concept, and Lamar leaving the same people open, then yeah, you got to say like that's a Lamar thing. I think it's all interrelated. The mesh concept is one that was, quote, new for the Ravens in 2021. They didn't run a ton of it in previous seasons. So this is kind of my lead in to kind of gather people up. I don't know if there's any. Are there even any good football games still on? I'm imagining there's like some Pac-12 games on probably. No echo? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to get rolling here with the first couple of plays. And these are not exactly positive in all instances. So mesh, if you watched a video I put out a couple of days ago, is usually going to have, those are drawn too deep. It's usually going to have like two underneath drags from opposite sides of the field, and then oftentimes you'll get a third receiver sitting down in the what I call the low hole, so the middle of the field, and that would be like the third part of the read. Oftentimes you'll get, a wheel route out here, and then you'll, to the other side, you'll get the tailback running something like that. Like some people call it a swing route. I would just call it a wheel. But the main portion of mesh is your two underneath drags, and they're basically designed to pick people if it's in man, and then force bad decisions by the inside linebackers if it's zone. This is the one that's like a 32-yard gain, maybe even more by James Prochet. And he's wide open. Like, there's no one covering him at all. It's a blown coverage by Simmons. I'm always going to point that out because no good games on Raven Ron. Okay, so you're going to see, this is one of the times where Lamar finds the right guy on mesh. I think he recognizes that no one's covering Prochet for whatever reason. I'm not sure how he knows. I like to look at his helmet, and to me, he's looking right now and sees that Prochet is wide open. But he's not going to throw this ball right now because he understands the concept that you've got two underneath drags, so all he needs is time to get this thing out there. And then he looks over to his left. He's now confirming here that there's no one sitting in that zone to throw it to. Boom. Blown coverage by them. It was a 32-yard gain, if you see the information here at the top. All right, but that's not consistent for Lamar on mesh. And look, this is not exactly mesh. It's really just two crossers, to be honest with you. And this is thrown low. Like, Marquise Brown's open. This ball needs to be thrown a little bit higher. It looks like he pulls it down a little bit. It's got to be thrown a little higher, give Marquise Brown a chance to catch it. But Marquise Brown's got a small catch radius. There really isn't any other option. I mean, you can say, like, maybe if he throws this ball out here by the S, but you always have to think about the progression and where he's looking. That's one of the things where people who say, like, he should have thrown the ball here, he should have thrown the ball there. I don't feel confident. I don't feel like it's right for me to say that unless I can see the end zone angle and I can see his helmet and see what he's reading, first. So you got play action. He's definitely looking here. Is he looking right at 32? I don't know, but he's definitely looking at the middle of the field. I hope you'd agree. You can see Brown's helmet down here at the bottom. Looks like I've got. Are you guys frozen? It's a little low, but this is one of the times where I think he made the right decision, and the throw is just a little bit low. We'd like for this throw to be, further this way and a little bit of higher so that Marquise Brown could run on top of it. If you guys are frozen, let me know, or if you've got audio, please let me know, because according to me, my streaming software is frozen. All right, another mesh concept, and look, Rashad Bateman's wide open. Like, he's wide open. Right? Agree? He is wide open coming across here. Lamar is waiting for this to clear, and this is one of those, and look, it ends up being a completion to Mark Andrews over the middle for a first down on 3rd and 10. You can see the down marker right there. Okay, you got everything? All right. Thank you, Benny. So there are times where someone would say, look at this. He's not throwing this onto space. And, there's times where I agree with that, because I have said in the video I put out a couple of days ago, and I've said multiple times, that the route that's typically open is the one that originates from the opposite side of the running back. So that running back, which in this case is Freeman, is kind of clearing out space right here near the numbers. He's clearing out a defender, whether it's man or zone, that someone's going to be responsible for him. And yes, Bateman is open. So if you want to judge harshly, you could say, Lamar, you should throw this ball here. But we don't know what he was just told in his headset. He may have been told, hey, let these two underneath drags clear. And what happens is you get linebackers that split. One guy might go this way, and typically you'd have someone go with Bateman, but in this case, no one goes with him, and then throw it to the low hole afterwards. So it works out in our favor, even though some would say, he should have thrown the ball to Bateman. Hopefully, am I explaining that in a way that makes sense? If not, let me know. Freeman's going to run out here to the right. My contention is that the underneath drag from the other side of the field is the one that's typically open. You can see these guys split. This guy went with Duvernay. This guy's kind of caught in no man's land. He's got two people to worry about, and he's sat high. Bateman's definitely open, but Andrews is too. Yep. All right, so you understand what I'm talking about. You've got situations where, Lamar is not hitting the underneath drag. This is another one here. It's 3rd and 7. We're going to go to Bateman, who's covered well. We'll let you see the end zone angle, and then I'll pull it back and let you see Marquise Brown wide open. I always like to look at the helmet, like I said, just to see what he's reading and try to surmise what he's reading. So to me, he's looking here. He's looking at 24. All right, 24 is going to go with the running back. He's going to go with Freeman. So because of that, Lamar, his helmet is now looking here where he's going to throw the ball to Bateman. So he's taking a shot with a guy who, wins one-on-ones. But the problem, if you ask me, is like we've got to look at these routes at some point because it's just easy money. I don't know if you guys bet like in casinos and stuff. I don't. I've been there with friends who do. Like if they're going to give you easy money, you've got to take it. And I just feel like this is a situation to throw this onto this, near the top of the numbers. Let Marquise Brown run on top of it. But he never looked there. So he may have been told something in his helmet. Look for Bateman late. Look at the safety to Bateman's side. If he goes with a running back, that's man. Let's hit Bateman. I just think that, we've got to identify that and this trailing defender. Hopefully I'm saying that in a way that makes sense and is realistic. And, obviously I'm not a hater because Lamar Jackson is my favorite player. but I got to look at it realistically sometimes and say, hey, there's routes that are open. Why aren't we hitting them? Is it a Lamar thing? Is it a coaching thing? Is it both of them? I'm not sure. I kind of tend to think it's both of them, and maybe what they're telling him to read. This is going to be a controversial one because you're going to watch it and you're going to say, throw the ball to Bateman down here. He is open. There's no doubt about it. Watch the play again. What you'll see is you've got two defenders from Miami dropping out. Those two guys they were lined up on the line of scrimmage and they're dropping out. Yes, would we like Lamar to throw the ball out here to the top of the numbers? Sure. But as you can see, he's got pressure here. I'm not a Lamar apologist. If you've been listening this long and you think I'm a Lamar apologist, you just don't have comprehension skills for real. Like, I understand that pressure bursts pipes, and in the case of quarterbacks, pressure ruins pass plays that should work. Turbo, our offensive line was very inconsistent in the preseason this year. Let me get back to you. Let me get back to that question, Turbo, in a second. If I don't address it, let me know. He seems to be looking for one of these routes up here. I think this is Andrew's feet up there. He seems to be looking to throw it in this lane here and not seeing, this top level route on the mesh concept. Top level, what I mean is, there's usually a shallow portion and then a top side, okay? So this is the top side of the route. This is the top drag route, meaning it's the one that's a little further downfield. Even if he throws this ball now, look at this defender here, and that's not where Lamar's looking, so it really doesn't matter. Kind of wasting my time here. He can't throw this underneath drag because of this defender. Agree or disagree, right? This one he doesn't even have eyes on. Hopefully you guys can see that. You don't have a title bar in the way. No, you don't. Alfred Simmons, you made a great point there. I think it's both. I think you're referencing Lamar and the coaching because they're always preaching push the ball downfield. I think you're 100% on point. I think we look for the big play more than we should. Totally agree. And Alfred, let me add on to what you just said, and then I'm going to get back to this situation. I think we had fool's gold in the Colts game, meaning, we tore them up with the pass. We weren't as successful running the ball, and I think we thought we had a big play offense because of that game. Not saying that they were sorry because, the Colts played pretty good football near the end of the season. But let me get back to this for a second. Alfred, you got a great point. There's no defender off screen to our right. The defense is left. This is the last defender from the hash to the sideline. So, yes, we could throw that ball. But one of the things that they were doing, they being the Dolphins, all game long was, one guy's dropping out this way and one guy's dropping out that way. And this is early in the game. So it's not like Lamar has a bead on, who is dropping out. And when you don't know who's dropping out, it makes it really dangerous to throw one of these routes, because you don't want to give up a pick six, because that's a pick if you throw it right into a defender's hand. So I'm not an apologist. I'm a realist. Hopefully I am. And if you don't think I am, let me know, because I want my content to improve. I don't want to be an apologist. I want to be real. The mesh concept, if you ask me, is something that we need to improve on. And it's related to another concept that I'll go over in difficulty. And again, I think I'm just being real. I'm trying to speed through this for real so I can be done with this in an hour. Switching over to a different playlist. Okay. So this is Turbo. Yeah, back to Turbo's question. Turbo, our run blocking in the preseason was bad. Just bad, for real. Our pass pro was better than our run blocking in the preseason. But just let me caution you a little bit, Turbo, and anyone else. We weren't playing 4/5 of our starters, for real, right? I mean, Linderbaum played 3 series. Zeitler didn't play at all. Morgan Moses didn't play at all. Now, Ben Powers did play a lot, which I think is kind of suspicious, because if he's a full-blown starter, like why is he playing when none of those other guys are? I know Linderbaum had the injury, and clearly we're not going to play Ronnie Stanley in the preseason. So I just want to caution you a little bit that the O-line situation is probably not nearly as bad as it looked in the preseason with the run blocking. I thought pass pro was generally pretty good. Falele and James had some issues with out-and-out speed rushes at times, but Falele, it wasn't consistent. I think James is going to struggle with speed rushers for real. Let me move on from that point, though, Turbo. It was a great question nonetheless. This is going to be RPO. There's no data up here at the top, by the way. I'm not sure why. This is one of the most beautiful plays that we had last year. There is so much happening in this one instant. I hope I can do a good job of explaining. I have done videos on this one play. So this is an RPO. Ngakoue is going to go with the running back when the running back crosses Lamar's face. So that's a keep read. So what that means is Lamar keeps the football. He's not going to give it to Tyson Williams when Ngakoue is getting ready to go knock the snot out of him unblocked. So that's called a keep read, all right? Oh, Jackson, totally agree. We should be running more RPOs. Lamar does a great job of it. You can see Lamar's face mask right on the read guy. That's the first part of the play. Ngakoue, forcing a keep read. The second part of the play, he could have been reading the inside linebacker. He's not on this play, though. Let me get that off the screen. Sorry. I did a lot of these annotations like months ago. The second option here would be to throw it out into the flats. I believe that we could throw it out into the flats, but with an inside leverage defender, and a guy on the high side who's got a good angle, what's it going to be, like maybe a 5-yard gain, something like that? It's not a high yield play. Lamar decides to go to the third part of the read, which the third part of the read is Mark Andrews. Well, look at this window right now. I'm going to pause it here. Look at that window. Right now, there's a defender in between Lamar and Mark Andrews. So Lamar, technically his first read, which was Williams, there's first option, gone. Second option, he chose not to go there, even though, you could say he's open, but I think he just didn't want the 5-yard gain. Third option, Mark Andrews also closed off. Raiders did a great job in this game defensively. And then Lamar goes ahead and sticks this thing in between the inside linebackers, these two guys right here. I just think he's really good at RPOs. I think it helps our offensive line. If you have an offensive line that's not great, RPOs help them because you can leave people unblocked. It's a beautiful play. I think someone on one of my streams figured out that it was like 1.78 seconds for Lamar to make those decisions. Maybe it was 1.98, so almost 2 seconds. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't agree with that, Davion, for real. First of all, thank you for your comment and being someone who's willing to put yourself out there with that thought. I do not agree that he's bad at decision-making when the play starts, and I think this one right here is an example of it. So I'm not trying to hate on you, Davion, because I want you to watch my stream and I want you to comment. So, you clearly have reasons for saying that. But here's 3 decisions that he makes. 1, whether to give or keep to Tyson Williams. 2, whether to throw the ball out here to Watkins or not. And then 3, initially not throwing the ball to Andrews because the inside linebacker's in the window, and then throwing it between the inside linebackers. Not you, Davion, I can't stand people that are like, RPO is not an NFL concept. Bullshit. Wait 5 or 7 years when RPOs, instead of being run like 7 to 8% of the time, are run like 14 to 16% of the time. RPO usage actually is probably going to double in the next year or two just because it puts so much conflict on the defense. So I'm not arguing with you, Davion. There are certainly times where he doesn't make the best decision post-snap, and that's kind of some of the things I illustrated with the mesh concepts. Hopefully you agree with that. But I cannot categorize him as a guy who doesn't make good decisions post-snap. And use Tyler Huntley as an example of that, because Tyler Huntley throws probably 80 to 85% of his routes 7 yards or shorter immediately, and that's not what Lamar's coached to do, in my opinion. Lamar's coached to get the ball downfield. Tyler Huntley is coached to get the ball out of his hands into the playmaker's hands. Should Lamar be coached that way sometimes? Absolutely. So what you're saying and what I'm saying, those things can be merged if you ask me. Hopefully that makes sense. Scott Wilson, man, appreciate you joining. Just so you know, Lamar. Jesus. Just so you know, Scott, I'm going to be doing previews for the Ravens Jets game coming up in the next 2 or 3 days. I'm going to start them, and they'll be quite comprehensive, and they should have a lot of data from Jets games from last year and your preseason games. So appreciate you joining the channel and commenting. All right, so this is going to be a way that we attack cover three, and I have covered this before in video form. Now, there's going to be a larger point here for you guys, and this ball's slightly out of Mark Andrews' reach. It's not great video resolution, but what we, so forgive me for that. But what we've done is we've isolated this linebacker on this vertical, what I call, some people call it lube route, some people call it climb, whatever, on that linebacker, because this safety over here is got to worry about potential two verticals there and a dig, whatever it might be. So you've got a good matchup in our favor. Mark Andrews on a linebacker, and we slightly overthrow it. So just so you know, later in this game, the Ravens coaches adjust, and we put Sammy Watkins here. He runs the vertical, soloed up on a linebacker, beats him badly for like a 44-yard gain or something like that. But here's the larger point I want to make about this, and this is, I may sound like an apologist to some people. Greg Roman has a really good plan for dealing with cover three. I feel like Greg Roman does a nice job of installing plays for us to attack cover three. This is a cover three beater. Now you might say, well, like, Coach, if he's running this here, how come this corner in cover three can't cover that? Well, he's not playing cover three. He's playing man backside. That's a typical concept for cover three on the backside of a 3-by-1 formation, is just to play man. It's just simplest. And then you probably play a man here too with the strong safety. That's why he's set to the weak side. Right? Hopefully that makes sense. My point is, Lamar does a great job of attacking cover three, if you ask me, because our coaches have a good plan for attacking cover three. I don't think our coaches have a great plan for attacking quarters and split field coverages. I'm going to fast forward this. And consequently, I don't think Lamar does a good job of attacking those coverages. Kevin Shipley, what's up, man? Travis, I really appreciate that, man. The streams are something that I really enjoy because it challenges me. Travis said he enjoys my vids and how I talk with you guys. It's probably kind of colloquial and country. I like talking to people. It's fun for me. I like the live streams because they challenge me more so than pre-recorded vids. So let me get back to my point though for a minute. I'm talking about our coaches knowing how to attack cover three. This doesn't look like cover three because you got two high safeties. Well, what's going to happen on the snap is this safety's going to spin down. And then you're going to get, this is Miles Boykin running the same route that Mark Andrews just did. It's a blown coverage by the Cowboys. Let's not front. It's a blown coverage, totally. One of Miles Boykin's, best moments, touchdown against Dallas at home. How's it happen? Here's how it happens. When you get trips, right, on the back side, if you're spinning down like this and then rolling this safety backwards, back to middle at center field, what that means is you're probably just playing man here. So all you've got to do, if you remember the last play I just showed you, had a short route. The backside receiver was up here. He just ran a short route, which kept the corner occupied. Well, this is Ricard. So what's this corner going to do when he gets what looks like a run block? He's going to keep his feet still. So this is great design. And what I'm saying is our coaches have a great idea of how to attack cover three situations with 3-by-1 formations. And consequently, Lamar does a good job attacking them. Think about it this way in terms of school. If you were really good at math, you might have had a great math teacher at some point who helped you understand concepts and be able to solve problems quickly. If you or someone unfortunately wasn't great at math, it's very possible you just had a bad teacher. Numera, that's so funny that you say that because I was thinking about doing a live stream in the car a couple of days ago. I've been traveling and unable to create video content. So first of all, Numera, thank you for the for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Maybe someday. Can I put it that way? Remind me again. Doesn't have to be a super chat when you remind me. I want to go back to one thing here. Let me get rid of these annotations. So I want to go back to one thing here. Watch Lamar on the snap again. This is another reason why I like to look at the end zone. Watch his face mask. I'm intentionally going slow motion here. He's looking at the mic right now. He looked at the mic right now to see what he's doing. Then he checks backside. That backside route over here is a short route to keep that corner occupied. Since that corner is occupied, now Lamar knows where to go with the football. You see what he did? When he's looking backside, watch, he's looking off screen to our left, his right. He knows the corner over there is playing man-to-man, which is the backside of a 3-by-1 formation. It's taken me a while to get here, but this is my larger point. Greg Roman and our offensive staff do a great job of attacking cover 3 looks, single high safety looks. They don't do a great job of attacking 2 high safety looks. And I think Lamar, doesn't do as good a job attacking 2 high safety looks either. Generally, he's asked to push the ball down the field. This is later in the game. I'm ignoring the chat for right now just to get to this larger point because I want to get through these plays. What have we done? We've taken a faster athlete, Watkins, and put him as the number 3, running the same route. The first time through, though, watch this up here. Watch the tight end, which is Ricard, and watch the corner's reaction. So you got a short route by Ricard. I'm going to pull this back. Ricard's going to run block first, so that's holding the corner. Look at the corner's feet. He settled his feet because he's trying to figure out, is this run or pass? Why is he doing that? Because he's looking at Ricard's block. Look like a run block at first. It's not. Ricard releases out in the flats. Corner takes Ricard. KJ Wright to Sam takes the running back. What's that mean? The inside linebacker is soloed up on a fast wide receiver. So now that I pulled this back a couple times, go ahead and watch this here. Isaac, appreciate the super chat. 12 personnel passing, I think, should be a huge asset for the Ravens this year. I'm assuming that you're talking about Andrews and Likely being on the field at the same time. That is, I actually did a video that was kind of unpopular for real. Isaac, I did a video that was kind of unpopular about Ricard and Boyle's usage and getting one of them off the field pretty much at all times, not ever having both of them on the field. You can use Ricard as a tight end. If it was me and Cap was no consideration, I would cut Nick Boyle and keep Pat Ricard because you can use him as a fullback and a tight end. Let me come back to that, Isaac, if I don't address it well. So why is that corner that's off screen? He's off screen over here. Why is he holding so short? Why is he not getting depth? Coach, you're saying this is cover 3. Well, the backside of cover 3 in a 3-by-1 formation is typically a lock call or Louis or whatever, or Maryland, whatever people call to designate. Man, he's getting what looks like it could be a run block at first. So that's why he stayed up. I showed you the all-22 already. There's the corner off screen right there. I'm not sure if you guys can see him. And then Sammy Watkins, mismatch with this inside linebacker. Too much space, too much time, even though Max Crosby is getting pressure on the quarterback. You can see the matchup that we've created. This is the free safety being held by Marquise Brown's route, and we're able to, get that isolation there. We do a good job of designing these plays for Lamar against cover 3. We do not do a good job of designing these plays against 2 high safety looks. I'm going to go to a different screen for a second while I load up the other playlist. I'm not ignoring you guys in the chat. I'm just trying to get to this last playlist because I think it's the one that's the most instructive. So I'll look at the chat for a second here. Scott, it sounds like you had a question. The interior offensive line, Scott, if we've got Linderbaum and Zeitler as the right guard and quality play at left guard, our interior O-line is going to be pretty good, really pretty good. Linderbaum showed some skills in the run game and the pass game in that third preseason game that was shocking. He's really good on stretch run concepts. Kevin Shipley, you made a good point earlier. You said, we're always looking for the big play. Yes, I believe that we are often looking for the big play. And that could be a Lamar thing. It could be a coach thing. This clip is going to loop once or twice. I want to go back to a couple of points early on. Ethan Sharp, so the Ravens have to get better against cover 0. Yes, but that coverage that the Dolphins played isn't exactly cover 0. it sticks. Other people call it blitz zero, but be that as it may, it's a slightly different variation of cover zero. Fernando, what's up, man? Coach, thank you. Alan, what's up, man? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you joining in. Yeah, hit the like button, guys, if you enjoy the content. If you don't, then say so in the comment section. But there's 87 viewers and 22 likes. Like, that math don't work. All right, so you see Lamar get sacked here. This is going to be. I don't know if you guys are able to see the yeah, absolutely, Alan. I don't know if you guys are able to see the concept up there because it's like a white background, but these are going to be all under routes. All right. Now this is I call this Z under. I call this Z under, but it's whatever. You got this here. What's supposed to happen here with Prochet is a China in. Some people call it a whip, and Prochet I think runs this too quick. So what happens here is you got Brown running the under. I think Prochet's got to be another maybe 3 or 4 feet behind Brown, and you'll see another play here. I think 2 plays from now where the next week, because this is week 3 at Detroit. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think it's the Denver game, or maybe it's the Colts game where Prochet corrects it. So Prochet's running this too quick. So these two guys, it's layered, but Prochet ends up being here. We clearly are missing Andrews, but Andrews is turned in here. Andrews is turned in this way, and I'm not sure why. This, to me, looks like it should be a corner route immediately, and that doesn't look like what Andrews is running. Watch the way Andrews turns his shoulders, and he's getting jammed or redirected out by this linebacker. To me, this should be like he should be turning over this shoulder somewhere in this area and running this, up to the back of the end zone. And it doesn't look like that to me right now. His face mask is still facing this way. Lamar's trying to hit him as he's getting sacked because he's wide open, Now, the larger point for me, though, is we got to hit this route. We got to hit this route, more than we currently do. It's there. Right now it's there. It's there when we step up. I mean, look at what's there. Look at the running onto the space. If you want to talk about Marquise Brown and, catching the ball and then, people making contact with him afterwards, whatever, fine. But that's not the point. The point here is, like, these underneath routes are the things that we're going to get. We're still going to get these this year, and we've got to take advantage of them. Kevin Shipley, I agree with you. Oh, Tola, what's up, man? Really appreciate you, joining the stream. Tola is someone that supports me on Patreon, and so does Alan. Thank you guys, for joining the stream. This is a check, so I'm not sure if you guys can see all this data up here. Please let me know if you can. Tola, first of all, great question about being able to improve on passing concepts. I mean, Lamar's got to improve certain things. This is the type of thing he's got to do more often. Now, I'm not sure when you join the stream, Tola, but is it a Lamar thing or a coaching thing? I think a little bit of both, that we don't hit this underneath route. All of these are going to be examples of X under or Z under routes. And if you just join the stream, to recap a little bit, I start off with mesh concept as the first part of this video. Mesh concept involves 2 underneath drags originating from opposite sides of the formation. That is something that Lamar is not. It's not that he's bad at. He could be way better at taking those underneath routes. This is also Z under. Again, watch Prochet on his little China in route. The timing of it is way better than it was 2 weeks earlier against Detroit. You guys see the delay there? That's intentional. We hit Duvernay in the middle of the field. I'll get to the end zone angle, then we'll pull this one back. I may actually go back to the Lions play to show you. It's actually a little bit elementary when people talk about route concepts sometimes, because there are plenty of times when receivers don't run a good route, and I'll prove it to you here in a minute. Here is Duvernay making the catch over the middle, and there's Prochet. Look at the spacing they have. One guy in front of this linebacker to our left, and then one guy behind. So theoretically, if this linebacker, let's say he was to move further this way, cover up Duvernay, then Lamar would have Prochet available. I'll show you the timing of it again. Brent Lauren, what's up, man? Appreciate it. Yeah, I know, Alan. I was thinking about that. I've seen that before too. I'll go back to the all-22 here in a moment, but you can see the timing of this. Hopefully, you've got a triangulated relationship between those three players. Two of them are ours, so that's 2-on-1. That's advantageous for us, right? That's what you want. You've stressed this inside linebacker, or really, he's a guy who's dropping out, number 57. He can't possibly guard both of those. I'm going to pull this back to the all-22. Want you to see the timing of Prochet's route with this under route by Duvernay. That's actually a poorly drawn line. He ran it a little bit deeper than that. Look at Prochet putting his outside foot in the ground, and just keep in mind, this is third down. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. This is third down. So this is a concept that the Ravens coaches want Lamar to be able to execute on third down, and it's a great call. We've really isolated them. They've got all this, simulated pressure coming, and then you got three guys dropping out. Look at the staggered relationship between Prochet and Duvernay. I've really hammered this and beat this dead horse a lot. I'm going to go back to the Detroit game, and I want you to see Prochet run the same route. Also, this receiver up here is a little wider. So it looks like to me 2 weeks later they brought this receiver in some more to let him get underneath quicker. Watch the timing of it. Clearly, at this point, if you ask me, I'm telling my kid to throw the ball here. That's where we want the ball thrown. We're looking there. It looks like to me Lamar's reading this corner, and for whatever reason thinks this corner might drop off, so he doesn't want to throw it to Andrews. I still don't like Andrews' route. It looks like to me he's running up the seam at a defender instead of running, to like a post corner or 7 route. See, Iron, I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm one of those, and it's an unpopular opinion, I'm one of those that says the passing game was drastically improved, through 6 or 7 weeks. The Bengals did a great job of exposing the lack of our offensive line talent. As Lamar's getting sacked here, he's clearly getting ready to throw the ball to Andrews. He's recognized that Andrews is wide open. So how does that relate? Well, you've got this matchup here. If we're not beat and we're able to stay on this guy, Lamar gets that pass off. So, pressure bursts pipes and pressure ruins pass concepts. The under routes are things that Lamar's got to get better at. I actually think Duvernay's supposed to run underneath, but he sees this defender here, so he pulls this, a little bit deeper angle, and we get a big play out of it. Third down conversion. I beat that horse really, really, intently. Hopefully, it all made sense. I'm gonna let this play loop for a second while I look at the comment section. Yeah, Kevin, we didn't run a lot of screens, no doubt. Scott, you have audio? Okay. Raven Ron, always a good point. Yeah, sometimes the clock is an issue, no doubt. And I think I addressed that. Like sometimes you don't know what he's told in his headset, pre-snap. Xavier Smith, interesting question. With the offensive line projected to be better, it'll be way better. Like I don't see how anyone can think it's not going to be drastically improved. Morgan Moses, pass pro, is his strength. Left tackle, Macari's better than Villanueva. James is better than Villanueva. Ronnie Stanley's better than all of them if we get him. So Z under concept on a 3rd and 4, it's man. And, you'd like to see us get this ball a little bit further out in front of Marquise Brown and be able to clearly get the first down. I think we were given the first down, but it was initially ruled a stop. I could be wrong. We'll see the end zone angle. It looks like Lamar is looking here right now, and then in a moment, he looks over the middle, confirm there's nobody sitting there waiting. That's what I think I see from the all-22. We'll check the end zone and see what it looks like. You always have to look at the end zone. Well, what I was taught, you always have to look at the end zone to see if the quarterback's reading what he should be reading. He's clearly looking at Marquise Brown and Andrews to that side. Sidearms there. That's beautiful. Wow. Everybody can't do that. I remember people talking about this throw, sidearming it around that D tackle and offensive lineman. That's sick. I think they gave us the first down there. I could be wrong. Jason, what's up, man? Kevin Shipley, I would agree that we do too much. We do too much, shotgun at times. Sometimes you got to, in passing situations, obvious passing situations. All right, so we've got a delayed under by Oliver. He's going to jam and then slide underneath the coverage here. We got nothing here. We got nothing here at all. Late, could we get this to Andrews? It looks like he's coming back to the ball here. Yeah, we could. And I think Lamar looked there first. So if we were going to do a progression here, I'd say this was 1, Andrews, this was 2, Brown, and then this here was 3. We'll get the end zone and we'll be able to confirm or change what I just said there. Are you guys still got audio? Somebody said they didn't have it. If you still have audio, please let me know. So he definitely looks over here to our right. Yeah, I think he's definitely looking at Brown and Andrews. I think it was Andrews first, Brown second, and nothing's developing with either one of those. Excuse me. I think you could come back to Andrews here, but that's being Monday morning quarterbacks. You got Andrews here, Brown looks like he's up the seam, and then 3 to Oliver here. He's on Andrews initially, and for whatever reason, doesn't let that one develop. Goes to his next read, which I think is here. Nothing there, because he's got this guy underneath. And then Oliver late. Clearly, you'd like to get this ball to Andrews. Once you see, when you see this, you're like, hey, I wish we had stayed on that a little longer. But he's coached to go through progressions. Sometimes maybe you go through the progression too quick. You'd like for him to maybe come back to that guy, especially when it's Mark Andrews. But, that's being Monday morning quarterback, and I have the benefit of doing that months later, obviously. Cherokee, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. No worries, Jackson. Kevin Shipley, we get to the line too late, buddy. That's one of the reasons we don't audible a whole lot. We get to the line too late because we're constantly changing personnel. I could show you that. If you look at the database that we're creating, you'll see the personnel. Hopefully you can see this well up here, Kevin. It'll be like this: 11 personnel, 12 personnel, 12 personnel, 21, 22, 11. So what that means is like every snap we got somebody subbing on and off the field. You know what I mean? And when that happens, you lose 6 or 8 seconds for that player to get on the field. This is one of those examples where Lamar bears no fault at all. It's a route that Andrews runs too far into the middle of the field. It just is. He's got what looks like a blitzing guy off the edge, and no awareness at all of all the space that was out here. Of course, we can't judge him at this moment here based on what was there 2 seconds ago. But, he's got a helmet. He's got a face mask. He can look. You got off corner, which is all the Bengals play unless they're playing man-free. Like, the corners are always off. You got off safety, which they play all the time, and off free safety back here. Actually, I got those backwards. Bates free safety, and Bell is the strong safety. Like, this is a route. Watch Andrews go all the way in here, then bring this out. This has got to be a route that he gets out here quicker. And here's one of the ways that I know this to be true, and this is not conjecture. Lamar's in here. Look, draw a straight line between him and Andrews. Who's in the way? Bateman is. And I contend that, there should be a layering of it, meaning right here, when Bateman is in line with Lamar, Andrews should be like out here. That route should have been cut off a little bit. Instead of running it all the way in here, he should be bringing it here, which then opens up himself as an option and opens up Bateman, because it would isolate this guy the same way we isolated 57 for the Colts on the under and the China in by Prochet. Hopefully, you guys got a memory of what I'm talking about. Let me stop this and draw a line here. Andrew just has no awareness. I don't know if you guys can see this off screen. Like this he shouldn't be here. He needs to be here and running onto this open space. He needs to be like another 3 yards further towards the sideline. Look at Lamar and the line he has. We're allowing Wilson, who's a damn good linebacker, very underrated against the pass. Don't pay attention to those rating systems to tell you he's not good against the pass. They don't know what they're talking about. He's always in the right place at the right time. We've allowed one defender to defend 2 guys. And yes, is that the original design of the play? Yes, but we've got to be better at identifying that. I don't actually think that Mark Andrews is as good at recognizing space as a lot of people think he is, to be honest with you. There's times where we get situations like that. I think he should be adjusting his route quicker. Jack Gertz, totally agree. Wilson is a spectacular linebacker, really underrated. I'm going to let this one loop while I track the comments for a section. For a couple seconds. Stu Money, yeah, that's hilarious. Stu said he was at the Chargers game and fans were in the stands complaining about the passing game, even though we were running the ball down their throats. Yeah, I don't care what we do. I don't care if we run the ball, we throw the ball. I don't care if we run RPOs. I really don't want us to run pistol option, but if it works and we go 13-4 and we win the Super Bowl, then I'll be happy. I really don't care. Like that's kind of an immature mindset. Fans wanting, a particular offense. Do what works. And we need to be multiple, in order to do multiple things depending on the opponent. If you look at week 5 against the Colts, we threw the ball because that was what was available to us. And then week 6 against the Chargers, we ran the ball down their throat. This is a great job by Kendricks right here. And I think, again, Andrews should be running this route all the way across the field. Lamar is clearly looking for him. Lamar's not looking for this clear out route. This is a terrible wheel route by Marquise Brown. He literally runs away from the defender like there's a bubble around him. And he's not open. So you got a clear out route up the sideline by Andrews. Excuse me, Brown, not an option. You got a clear out route by Oliver. This is your classic, and again, I think Andrews it's a great job by this linebacker. It's a great job by Kendricks coming downhill and then turning his back and getting underneath the route. So yes, it is a great job by him. Andrews reads this guy as covering him, so he sits, and I think he should just keep going here. But that's his read. Kevin, no. Kevin, you make a great point that we don't, the Bengals play us off coverage a lot. Yes, no doubt about it. They play us off coverage. Compare it here. There's the line of scrimmage on the 40. This corner's at what, 3? Heels at 3, and this guy's heels are at 5. So and then if you compare that, what Kevin is saying is, granted, this is also 3rd and 7, Kevin, but Kevin's got a great point. This is a 26-yard line. This guy's heels are at the 18, so that's 8 yards. This guy's heels are, almost 17, but let's call it 18. So 8 yards off. So you have a very clear difference. And that's a consistent thing. That is not just this particular play and the coverage they're playing. Bengals play off coverage a lot with their corners because they're a split field coverage team. This is another example. You've got a clear out route. What that means is the open space is going to be over here. This would look very similar to 2 throws Lamar made against the Colts. One of them to Duvernay, one of them to Andrews that were, right to left near the bottom of the numbers on what I call over concept. I mean, Kevin, yeah, we should absolutely run a quick hitch at times. There's no doubt about it. Let's look at his helmet. So he's just trying to sell the run a little bit here. But everybody can see the football. You can see these guys are already redirecting, and they're well-trained. They got the wrong read at first. They thought it was run. Turns out to be pass, so they turn their back to the quarterback, and they run underneath routes, which is fantastic. You can see Kendricks has got Andrews locked up in terms of being on the correct leverage side. This linebacker is also helping out there. So there's really no option for Lamar, but he actually does have an option, which is this, which is ridiculous. 13-yard run. Ain't too many other quarterbacks that can do that. Well, Kevin, one of the things about what the Bengals do, Kevin's asked the question 2 or 3 times, like these guys are looking in the backfield. They're literally looking right at Lamar. So if we were to snap the ball and then just throw a quick hitch out of here immediately, you're going to get, hold on. Not saying it wouldn't work, Kevin. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're going to get immediate reactions from these guys. I'm drawing those lines as if it's going to be a loss of 2. It's not. We would have the opportunity to make someone miss, and you're absolutely right. There needs to be times where we throw that, particularly like right now, when they're showing pressure, which goes to my point. Like, I don't think we adjust routes well, and, people complain about Greg Roman all the time, but they never complain about our receivers coach who apparently doesn't teach people to sight adjust routes. Kevin said, I wish I could call you. Another under concept. This one's by Bateman. And I think Andrews runs this little like high sit route. Bateman runs this. Ricard pulls people out wide by going in motion and then running out into the flats. I don't mean that Williams, we never sight adjust routes, but there certainly are a lot of times when we don't. Stu Money said the Bengals and Steelers are going to be tough. I mean, I would say the Bengals are going to be super tough. I would not put the Steelers anywhere near their class at all, particularly defensively. And their O-line is, quite inconsistent. If we think our O-line's in bad shape, you should see the Steelers O-line from preseason film. Looks even worse than ours. That's easy. This is one of them situations, later on in the year where we take the under route. We didn't take it, some against the Lions. I think we missed it one time in week 4 against Denver that I showed, but we also hit it against Denver once. What's amazing about Lamar is he's a 64% career completion guy, and we're not taking these under routes all the time. You would think that by not taking them, we would have more trouble. Here's another one. We're wide open, and we're wide open. We'll get the end zone angle, and we'll see what Lamar's looking at. I think he believes that this linebacker right here is going with Duvernay, and that linebacker redirects. I think that's Chaubert. Yeah, clearly you'd like to get the ball to Duvernay, or you'd like to get the ball to Watkins underneath. And it's just one of them things where, again, I think what's the percent that's Lamar's fault, the percent that's the coach's fault, I'm not sure. But, man, we've got a good play here. We've got a good play here. We got to get the ball out to those guys. Raven Ron, man, great point. Seems like Lamar hits the underneath when he has time. When he doesn't. Now this is time though. I think you're generally right, Raven Ron. In this particular case, I think Lamar should have already thrown the football, but we pick up the first down anyway because he's ridiculous. But that's a great point. To me, watching his helmet, he's basically looking over here, which I think is Marquise Brown, and then I believe Ricard running up the seam as a decoy route, pretty much. Definitely look. He glanced over here to the right initially, looking at Oliver. I don't know why we're not throwing this one right now. That's a mistake. That's one of them things where, as a coach and Lamar, you see that the next play or when you come off that series and you're like, hey, we've got to hit this and hopefully you come back to it. And we did. That's the encouraging thing. Later on in the game, we hit that underneath route often, but we missed it again here, and we miss Andrews in the middle of the field. But there's pressure. Now, also, the whistle did blow. I don't exactly recall when the whistle blew. It looks like a lot of guys give up on the play, pretty much after, as soon as I click the mouse here next, a lot of guys gave up on the play. But this ball could be out here, or this ball could be out here. Now, Kevin, there's got to be a read involved, unless he's told to. The under route we can't just throw that immediately, because if we just throw the under route immediately, yeah, that might work in weeks 1, 2, and 3, but eventually people are going to adjust. So it has to be a read. There has to be a read. And what you do is you force the defense to be wrong no matter what they do. We don't want him to hold on to the ball forever, obviously, but you got to read it. It's not always predetermined before the snap, even though the coaches clearly are telling him things. But this right here, we're open. We do kind of give away our routes though sometimes with these tight alignments. This one's not so bad, but there's times where like our receivers' feet are here. I mean, we're telling you, we're either running a drag across the field, or we're running, like it's a very limited route tree when your split is that tight. That split right there isn't as tight as I perceived it to be, but it's an example of, again, underneath routes that we're not reading well. And then we have these here on this last drive where we could have won the game, and we go underneath multiple times. This one's actually really good. CB, what's up, man? Thank you. Dr. Ganja, what's up, man? Yeah, this is one that I wanted to get out a while back. This was, and I know that I'm going to be working on Ravens Jets previews like in the next 2 or 3 days. So I knew that I wasn't going to get time to work on this again. Let's look at the end zone angle. So I just figured just do a live stream and get it over with. I wanted to do an hour. It's probably going to be a little bit longer than that. What I love about having the end zone angle, hopefully I never take this shit away, is he's looking here, first, comes back to the middle. You can see the helmet looking here now. For whatever reason, chooses not to take it. And then he saw the blitzer, guys. He knew how much time. There's a clock that Lamar has in his head that's a good one. Okay, I don't have what's over the middle. I don't have it. Let me get this ball out of here because there's a blitzer in my face. Boom. That actually tells us a lot about Lamar. So this is the blitzer. I think Lamar sees it. I think he sees it now, guys. All right? I think he's looking here for some type of recognition by the slot receiver about the blitz. So what I mean by that is, like, you got the blitz, and if the slot receiver just sits down, I think Lamar's trying to throw the football to him. And so when people say to me, like, Lamar doesn't process things quickly, that's BS. Because he's already recognized that we didn't sit down. We didn't sit down. So he went to the middle read, which is, I think, Andrews, and for whatever reason chose not to go there either, even though I think that guy's open. And then came back to this under by Watkins. He did that all while understanding, if you ask me, that the nickel guy was screaming off the edge on a blitz. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with that. I think he sees the blitzer, and I think he goes through 1, 2, 1, 2. Guys, for whatever reason, he didn't think 1 adjusted his route. I think he could have thrown the ball to Andrews, though, as 2, and then came back to Watkins on the under. Tanja, what's up? Thank you for joining. Yeah, just watch his helmet. When he goes through 1, 2, and then 3. And I think he understands that he's got a limited amount of time to do that because he saw the blitzer, screaming off the edge. I'd still like him to throw the ball now. Like, throw the ball to Andrews. I think Andrews is open. But he knew that there was space there because the blitzer vacated that area. So whatever, it worked out in our favor. Yes, he did, Alan. You're right. He missed us, the underneath route many times, as I've shown on film tonight. And then later on in the game got better. This is 3rd down. They don't blitz. He's over here. The Steelers have, really tried to overload the coverage. They've got 4 over 3 here. And Watt is hanging out, trying to do the TJ Watt things where he jumps up and tips the pass. So Lamar comes back to Watkins, who adjusts the route. That's beautiful, man. Kevin Gordy, thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, look, Kevin, I learned stuff from you guys for real. I mean, there's times where people say something to me and I take a day and go back and look at something or it helps me reevaluate things. The one thing that helps me is looking at the end zone angle, especially with quarterback play. It lets me see, where we're looking initially and where we're not looking, where we don't have awareness of what's happening on the other side of the field. but we're just super highly intelligent. There's the second part of the read, not there, and the third. Hopefully you guys will agree with me. So like people who say Lamar doesn't process things great post snap, like that's not true. There are times where we're not good at it, but this is one. Now we're on 2, something here in the middle of the field. 3, we come back to Watkins. So pull this back to the all-22, and let's see what that is. I think 1 is over here. I think 2 is, something like that. And then 3 is going to be Watkins in the back of the end zone, which is, just a post-snap adjustment. So 1 was up here, 2 was here, and now he's going to come back to here. That all happened pretty fast, if you ask me. That doesn't look like a guy who processes things slow at all. I agree, Alan. That's a Super Bowl throw. What a great way to put it. O. Jackson. I think O. Jackson is saying he tried to look the safety off on this play. Yeah, you could be right. I mean, I'm one of those that, I've seen the way quarterbacks are taught their progression. So there's times where they may go outside of that and look off the safety because they know that the first part of the read isn't going to be there. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying more often than not, it's just a part of the read. Yeah, CBG, I plan on doing 3 Jets previews, like for real. And I'm going to go on record as saying I think the Jets are a better team than a lot of people are giving them credit for. I don't, are they a 10-win team, in that division? Like, come on, look at who they're going to have to play twice each. But I think they're a better team than given credit for, particularly defensively. I think the additions of, Ahmad Gardner, I don't think the addition of Ahmad Gardner can be understated. Allen and Tola and a couple other people that are in my Patreon Discord, like they know I talk Ahmad Gardner all the time. Like nobody's throwing at him in the preseason. Why is that? It's not accidental. You're not on the field like 44 times in the preseason and nobody throws at you. That's not accidental at all. Last one. This is not Lamar, obviously. I think you're getting something like this. And then Marquise Brown does this walking under route. This is the type of thing that, we want to see more of. Like, get it underneath, especially on, short yardage, 2nd and 5. Get the first down. Eventually, what that'll do is it'll open up the deeper routes. I think we're in good shape with Lamar, and you see certain things that are there that are easy to correct. Like it's easier to throw this route than it is to throw that route, And that's not exactly the route that Andrews ran. I just feel like there's times, and even Harbaugh said it at halftime. I remember 3 games where Harbaugh said, we want to push the ball downfield. We want to get the ball downfield. Those words don't come out of Harbaugh's mouth at halftime unless they're coming out of Harbaugh, Greg Roman, T. Martin, Williams, the Urban, those guys' mouth in practice. I think they're coaching him to get the ball downfield, and there's got to be times where they coach him to, get rid of the ball quick and just let playmakers make plays. I'm going to let this run through and then look at the chat real quick before I cut this off. Oh, Dr. Ganja, no doubt. The Jets have a whole lot more talent. The Jets are a different team than last year. Absolutely. I mean, they got Garrett Wilson. Like, Garrett Wilson can ball. Raven Ron, thank you for joining. Yeah, Tanja, Ahmad Gardner's legit. Stu Money, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, I did a video on what the Steelers do to Lamar and how they try to mix up coverages and mix up looks to, kind of slow his progressions through things. They kind of try to freeze him. They kind of try to show one look and then rotate to another look. I'm not sure how that'll change at all. Being that they got a new defensive coordinator. Kevin Shilpe, I would agree. I would love to see stretch and boot off of a call for that many times. I think any quarterback can succeed in that, but specifically Lamar will make it even more dangerous just by his speed and how much he would threaten the defense with the boot. Is that a fumble by Oliver? I didn't even realize that was a fumble by Oliver. Dr. Ganja, what do you mean? It's funny because 19 he was dinking and dunking. Who exactly are you talking about? Caleb, thank you for saying that. Yeah, please hit the like button, guys. Before I cut the stream. This is one of the things I really like doing. If you have any ideas for other videos, let me know. I had like 2 videos I wanted to get done before the season started, but ran out of time. Definitely going to get Jets previews done. Think that they're a different animal. I really, people ain't going to like this comparison. I think they're very similar to the Raiders. I know the Raiders had, Darren Waller, and, a very fundamental defense with wanting to play cover 3 and playing it well. But I think the Jets have a lot of talent, and I think their D-line is way better than a lot of people understand. Clemens, the D-end, I think is a real problem for us, specifically if Ronnie Stanley doesn't play, which it looks like he's not going to play. I don't think you can expect him to play at this point. O. Jackson, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Xavier, what do you mean more videos of just your thoughts? Like I kind of feel like sometimes I don't want to steal content, by just having commentary. I like to put the data up here, like for real. I mean, I don't know if you guys even look at it up there, but that data right there, and Alan F, who's in here, or was earlier, and other people have been helping me enter the data. Like that data takes a long time to enter. I would like to flash over to the screen and show you how the data is entered. Maybe I'll do that sometime. I hesitate to do that because I don't really want to show the full extent of what's there in my database unless people join my Patreon. Like that might sound kind of selfish, but there's a lot of time and effort that goes into labeling that data. And then what it allows me to do is to quickly find concepts, repetitive concepts. And hopefully this year, if Lamar improves on the mesh concept, let's say, or throwing under routes, then I'll be able to show some of this old film like, hey, this is what Lamar used to do, and this is what we're doing now. That's the whole point of me keeping the database. That's the whole point of me trying to promote it, is trying to make it accessible to people and, selfishly having it be something that I can look at once the season starts and use to help me create more in-depth content, excuse me. Sean Paul, I mean, if you're on Twitter, Sean, message me up or something. I'm not trying to call you out or point you out at all, but we really run a lot of the same passing concepts as other teams. There are times where we have receivers near each other. If you look at, give me a second, Sean. I'm gonna hopefully try to explain something to you. Give me 1 second. All right, so Sean, what I've got on the screen is a pass concept called mesh. And mesh is one where receivers do cross close to each other at some point, but one guy's going, left to right for the offense, and the other guy's going right to left. So there are instances, and forgive me, Sean, like I'm not trying to presume, your football experience, but there are instances where receivers are going to be next to each other, but they're going in opposite directions. So there are, I've seen pics on Twitter where people are like talking about pass concepts. Somebody, I'm not going to name names. It's a famous analyst. Last year they took a screenshot, kind of like this, and they said, "Look at all these receivers bunched up together." Well, it's mesh. You're supposed to be, and there was a third receiver there. Let me get to the play. All right, here it is. All right, so it was this right here, pretty much this moment right here. Someone screenshotted it, a quite famous analyst, and was like, "Where's Lamar supposed to go with the football? You've got 3 receivers in a line, and you've got a 4th guy who appears to be running, in the same line as where Lamar's looking." But that's a really like, what's the word? It's a really like backwards way of thinking, because Bateman's running this route, Andrews is running the sit, and then from over here, Brown is running another drag. It's what they're supposed to be doing. Everyone runs mesh this way. Like, I'm not saying that it's you, Sean, but other people, there are people who try to get in the good graces of certain Ravens fans by pointing out Greg Roman's deficiencies. Does he have some? Sure, absolutely. Do we have a shitty plan for the Titans game in 2019 in the playoffs? Absolutely. Is it probably because he went on a head coaching job interview the week before we played the game? Yes, I think so. But like these situations where receivers are bunched up together, sometimes they're supposed to be, because they're breaking in different directions, and you can see when the ball is thrown, you've got a real nice spatial relationship. So if someone screenshots it at a certain time, yeah, it looks ridiculous. But a screenshot, in my opinion, doesn't tell the whole story. I wasn't trying to pick on you, so hopefully I handle that in a respectful way. Dr. Ganja, there's always going to be reads in certain offenses. For example, like here, just a little bit about my background. I grew up, the school that I went to and then I ended up coaching at, we were a run and shoot team. And so I've seen, and this is like early 90s, so run and shoot was based on sight adjustments. People call it sight adjustments, or just reads by the receiver and the quarterback. So one of the things that, we would have is like if the corner was here on a backside X, we'd be running a fade, or we'd be running a fade out. Fade out is a damn difficult route to defend because you're getting up the field, corner thinks you're getting there, and then boom, you break it to the sideline. If the corner was off, then we just run a hitch. And those were all reads. We had a guy have like 66 catches in a 10-game season basically on hitches because nobody wanted to guard him up close. He was 6'5", 230, and it was reads. So what you're asking, I think, is how often could we do that? We could do that more often, absolutely. That could be incorporated into the offense. That would be a deficiency that you could say about Greg Roman, that he doesn't have built-in choices for this guy. It's called a choice route. The choice means the receiver has a choice of the route to run based upon, the coverage that he perceives on the backside here. I don't know if I answered your question or not. Yeah, appreciate it, Sean. Like I want to handle things, in a way that's professional, in a way that you and I would talk like face to face, and not like how social media stuff goes down, which I think is horrible. You can see, and it was actually this play that I remember the screenshot of. That was like, where's Lamar supposed to go with the ball? You got all these guys in a line, and not understanding the concept that was presented. And it makes me just want to reach out to people on social media, especially Twitter, and be like, hey man, you understand the concept, how this happens? That's why I asked you if you're on Twitter. I wouldn't mind explaining certain concepts to you so you can see the read. This is the same read here. And to be real, like Lamar misses this one often. He missed this route. Cover that at the beginning of the stream. I wanted to wrap this up soon here, guys. Man, I appreciate you guys letting me do the stream on a Saturday night, which, most big sporting events was over by the time I started. Really, Dr. Ganja, I did not know that. Jack Gerst, that's a great idea. Analyzing Trey Lance. I mean, he's a young quarterback, so what people are going to try to do is they're going to try to give him different looks, especially. I'm just going to let these plays run and track the chat for a minute because I didn't do a good job of the chat. Xavier Smith said, "I think your opinion is valuable with or without film." I really appreciate that. I'm humbled by that. I kind of can't believe I'm in this position sometimes to be able to. Talk to people. I wish that we could do more where, you guys are able to talk back. We do that in my Discord if you're ever interested in joining. It's $5 a month. The Discord is something where people join. Alan, I don't know if Alan's still in here, but he runs a Thursday night film study. I try to do them on Saturday nights for Discord when I can during the regular season, where, we can talk back and stream our screen and look at these plays and talk on Trey Lance film. Jack, no doubt. No doubt. I like Trey Lance. I mean, I like Jimmy G too, though. I'll be honest with you. I like both of them. I wish they both got a chance to play for that team because Jimmy G's shown you that he can win, and I think the 49ers are going to win a lot of games with Trey Lance as a quarterback. Stu Money, great question, and I appreciate that. Stu Money said, just discovered my channel a couple weeks ago. Is there a position or side of the ball I specialize in? Defense and linebackers. Most of my background is in coaching linebackers and being a defensive coordinator. So that's kind of like how I look at the game, kind of mathematical, like where are the numbers? What can we do offensively based on the numbers the defense is showing us? David said, imagine if Gardner gets his first touchdown scored on him by Bateman. I mean, it's possible. It's just no one's challenging Gardner. And that doesn't surprise me based on the film. Like based on the film that's out there of him in college, no one's open. So, you know, what do you do when you have a guy who covers people so well? I'm a huge fan of Gardner. Um, my buddy Stacy Van Diver comments on videos sometimes. He's in my Patreon, and like I agree. He said it best. He's like Gardner should have been a top 2 or 3 pick. Uh, That's just what we thought we saw on the film. He let me go back to one thing that some people said earlier. Someone mentioned like, is our offensive line going to be better? I mean, like, come on. Let's do it this way. Let's put blanks under each offensive lineman. Are we going to be better at? Are we going to be better at left tackle? We'll start there. I'll wait for answers. I'm gonna either put a check or I'm gonna put an X. Are we gonna be better at left tackle this year in 2022? I don't usually do this like at the end of streams because people have already left by now. But Derek Jones, I really appreciate that. Thank you, Derek Jones. Just so you know, like all Ravens content creators, the ones who show film or the ones who don't, I appreciate them. Number one, and number two, would suggest Ravens fans check out their channel. But it's only 24 hours in the day, so you can't spend 4 hours watching Ravens content film. But they're not going to cover it on ESPN. They're not going to cover it on Fox. Other local sports stations, regional. I don't know how much they're going to cover them for real. They're going to give you a 3-minute segment. I think Ravens content creators do a better job than regional and national media. So are we going to be better at left tackle? Yes. Okay. Cool. Left guard. Are we going to be better at left guard? Are we going to be the same? Or is it a push? Are we going to be better or worse? I'll put an equal sign before you guys even answer. I'll say left guard is going to be equal to. Same. Awesome. Appreciate you guys. How about center? Come on, man. Don't give me the wrong answer here. Are we going to be better at center? Did you guys watch Linderbaum against Washington? Holy crap. He's a unique talent. I don't know. He's very baby faced. Like for real, he's very baby faced. He looks like he's in high school. Looks like he's a senior in high school. Maybe that's an exaggeration. He looks like a college sophomore. Right guard. I'm gonna do something before I even ask you guys a question. I'm gonna put a check, and you're gonna be like, hold on, it's the same player, coach. But we're gonna be better at center. So the position to the right, to his left, we're gonna be better at. And then the final question is, what about the position to the right? Do you think we're going to be better at right tackle? We had Makari there last year. We had Phillips at times. And this is unfair. This is unfair to Tyree Phillips. Like, he's not a tackle. He was playing there in this game to try to fill in. I wish the dude, to my knowledge, Tyree Phillips is 24 years old. So, he'll improve. But do you think we're going to be better over here with Morgan Moses? Come on, don't give me the wrong answer. Tanja, I don't have a problem with what you said. They should have drafted a left tackle. Like, I don't disagree with you. I don't. However, I'm not sure, where we would have gotten that player. Um, would it have been at 14? Like, would we have drafted a starting left tackle at 14? I don't know. I like what we did with Falele. I think we've got a tackle for the future in Falele. For real, but he's, clearly he's not a left tackle, nor is he probably ready this year. But just based on what we drew up here, everyone, I think we just agreed that our O-line is going to be better at 4 out of 5 positions. I just don't see any way that doesn't help Lamar. I mean, that's going to help Lamar tremendously. Yeah, I wasn't huge on Penny. I really wasn't. I mean, having said that, like, well, let's do it this way. Compare Penning to Falele. How much better do you think Trevor Penning is than Daniel Falele? I mean, I think he's better, but Is he significantly better? I can't really say that. Would it surprise me that 4 or 5 years from now, Falele is better than Penning? That really wouldn't surprise me. I like Trevor Penning. I just don't think he was the pick at 14, nor do I think he was the pick at 25. Yeah, Tanja, I know that. I know that. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Jack Gertz, I would agree with that, Jack. That Penning seems to be someone who's, he said, underdeveloped in pass pro. And I think that the same thing applies for Falele, but I thought Falele made significant improvements from his senior year at Minnesota to what we saw in the preseason. I think Falele, if he was to get thrown in there in a regular season game, we'd be able to survive. I think our O line is going to be way better, and that is just going to help, Lamar more. You cannot succeed at quarterback if your O line is no good, and at risk of being disrespectful, like look at this. That's not a talented offensive line at all. That's just not. It's not. We've got one, maybe two starter caliber guys there at the position they're at. I'm not sure the Bozeman is a super high level center in the NFL, and I like Bozeman, but we have a all pro caliber type guy. I like Kevin Zeitler, Stizzy. I did a Kevin Zeitler video in the off season. Maybe I'll try to link it up. So. Well, Xavier, first of all, you make a great point. Like with an improved O line, are we going to have the same push the ball downfield mentality? And Xavier used the word preached, and what you really mean is, is that going to be coached into Lamar to push the ball downfield? I think there has to be times where, certain concepts or certain situations. It's like, hey, Lamar's 1st and 10. First and 10, and we're on the other team's 45. Let's just get 5 or 6 yards. Let's get in field goal range. There are people who disagree with me, some cool people that I really like, but field goals do not lose football games. They don't. Points win football games. Not getting points loses football games. And there were so many situations last year where we ran about the 40-yard line or 43, and we take a sack because we're trying to push the ball downfield instead of let's just get 6 yards and let's attempt a 54-yarder with the greatest kicker in NFL history. And then some of those games, at least 3 of them that I can think of, we ended up having to make a miraculous comeback in the end. The Steelers game comes to mind. The Steelers game on the road. We throw an interception down in the red zone. To me, it's like if we don't turn the ball over or we don't take sacks at certain points in time and we just get field goals later on in the game, we don't need to convert a 2-pointer to win the game. We're already ahead, or we only need a field goal to win. That's kind of like hindsight or Monday morning quarterback, obviously. But I think sometimes we're a little bit, again, week 5 against the Colts, I think was fool's gold. We thought we were more talented than we were. For real. Matthew Hug, appreciate you joining in, man. Let me read your comment in a second. We're not going to get certain coverage just because of Lamar's speed and ability to move in the pocket. Tanja, I agree. Which is kind of what we've been saying the whole time, right? I know I've been showing you guys same place. First of all, I have fun with the live stream, so I know that I've gone like another 10, 12 minutes longer than I wanted to. Let me read Matthew Hugg's comment, and I'm going to be done here soon. Restructuring Stanley might be a sign they're going to bring in a free agent. JPP. Yeah, no, I agree. There's always a reason for everything, and even when nothing happens, there's times that we don't know where the the original intention was. The original intention wasn't to draft Kyle Hamilton at 14. Like, if you don't understand that, like, I don't know what to tell you. It just wasn't. We didn't even think he was going to be there. But, the intention of restructuring Stanley is clearly to bring in some more talent to this team. I think we got Super Bowl roster, guys. I think we'll be sitting here months from now talking about the AFC title game on the road or at home. and trying to figure out how we're going to win that game. I don't know if it's going to be a bit. I don't know if it's going to be against Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, whoever. I hope it's against Cincinnati. I hope we beat Cincinnati in the AFC title game, on the road or at home to go to the Super Bowl. Dr. Ganja, teams can't. Dr. Ganja, great point. You got a lot of them there in this stream, but teams can't play sticks coverage if we go 3-by-1. If we go 3-by-1, teams can't play sticks coverage against Bateman because we too good backside. Yeah, Xavier, I have a video queued up for that about Lamar's contract situation to give you a too long didn't read version. If I'm the Ravens, I overpay for him a little bit just because I recognize that a year from now, whatever Lamar signs right now would be a good value. Just like rewind a year. If we paid Lamar a year ago, 15, 20 million more than market value a year ago now, that would be a good deal at this point in time, in September of 2022. I probably didn't say that in a way that makes sense, but I just feel like the market's only going to go up. And correct me if I'm wrong, Xavier, the salary cap's going up. So I would expect quarterback salaries to go up, especially with the way these owners are. I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys a theory I have, and some of y'all are gonna disagree with it. You do not need an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl. You don't. You need an excellent football team, with a quarterback who understands his role and doesn't make mistakes. How do you not make mistakes as a quarterback? You have to have a good to very good to great O-line. Matt Stafford just won a Super Bowl with the Rams. He's in a great system. They had a great O-line, great coach, and a very talented defense, especially in terms of the pass rush. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl against the Patriots. That's the biggest example, right? If, we're Ravens fans, so we're not going to co-sign this statement, but there's a lot of people who believe the Ravens' last Super Bowl win with Joe Flacco was a fluke. They believe, you had an average quarterback and you won some games you shouldn't have won. Well, that's just dumb because they don't understand. The Ravens were the best football team in the NFL for probably 2 years straight. But we had a lot of injuries that Super Bowl season. Correct me if I'm wrong, we started off 9-2. I think it was 9-2, maybe 9-1, but I think it was 9-2. And then we had a lot of injuries. Guys went out. We ended up 10-6 and barely getting into the playoffs. I think we were 9-2 and ended up 10-6. You can check me on that if you want, but point remains, we were a way more talented team than just a wild card team who won the Super Bowl. Joe Flacco, Nick Foles, Matt Stafford, guys who are not great quarterbacks. They were great for the team they played on. To go back years further, Trent Dilfer, not a great quarterback, won a Super Bowl because of a great defense. There's multiple ways to skin a cat, multiple ways to win a Super Bowl. Do you have to have a great quarterback who makes $50 million a year to do so? No, I don't believe you do. Lafayette, appreciate you joining the stream. Oh, Raiders fan, man. I'm going to tell you what, Lafayette. One thing I noticed last year when the Ravens played the Raiders in week 1, it was so many Raiders fans on this channel commenting, and 98% of them was just positive interactions. It was really cool. And I don't even remember banning but one person for real. So it's not like I got rid of 30 people who could have said negative things, but they, were unable to comment. It was just really cool to see a whole fan base come up on my channel and be educated about their team and open-minded about ours. And it was a great game, for real. Lafayette, I'd take that right now. The Raiders and Ravens in the AFC Championship game. I'm not saying, I think we're better than y'all because I think you got a great offense. If you haven't checked it out already, I did a cool video on your 12 personnel group that I think is just going to be unstoppable. 12 personnel, one running back, Waller and Foster Moreau with 2 receivers, which will presumably be Renfro and Adams. I just think that group is going to be unstoppable. Thank you, Lafayette. I appreciate it. Jack Gertz, man, I totally forgot about that. Jimmy G. Yeah, Jimmy G, not a great quarterback, in terms of comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Josh Allen at this point. Everybody throws Justin Herbert in there. Like, that's way too early, but, he's a great quarterback, but not on certain guys' level. But, yeah, Jimmy G could have very easily won a Super Bowl in 2019. Dr. Ganja, a great point that the Super Bowl would have been different if OBJ didn't get hurt. Yeah, no doubt. OBJ was really putting it on the Bengals on a lot of those deep over or crossing routes, play action concepts. The Bengals, we're having trouble with that. But the Bengals defense is legit. I firmly believe they would have adjusted. But no, I don't think you're wrong at all. That OBJ getting hurt, really, really limited the Rams offense in terms of certain options. Yeah, Lafayette. It's on my channel somewhere. It's under NFL Film Studies. It's a 12 Raiders 12 person. Actually, I'm sorry, Lafayette. It's under one called AFC Offenses. It's a playlist that's on my channel, and it's the Raiders 12 personnel. I also did one on Foster Moreau. Like, I know some Raiders fans are not happy with Foster Moreau. I disagree with that assessment. Like, Foster Moreau does what the team asked him to do. If they asked him to catch 50 footballs in a year, I think he would. Clearly, he's not going to catch 50 footballs this year with Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, and Hunter Renfrow around. They're going to ask him to be a more balanced player in terms of run, pass, and blocking, and Foster Moreau can do that. Very underrated football player. All right, fellas. Well, I appreciate you joining the stream. This was very impromptu for me. I was not planning on the stream going this long. Xavier Smith, yeah, awesome. One day the teams will adjust to the Ravens, over reliance on the over route concept. I would agree with that. I think in some ways they already have. That'll be a topic for another day, Xavier, another video. I've actually kind of addressed it in other videos before. They do drop safeties type stuff, backside safety. Will Reed Andrews from the other side of the field. So people have already kind of done that. But maybe I could throw another video up. If a team does that during the season, then I'll maybe do that and address that topic. Don C, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. Appreciate you guys, man. If you like the video, like the stream, please consider commenting once I post the video up. Once I hit end stream here, it takes me probably another 3 or 4 minutes to get the video online. And if you go to my channel and just comment up in the comment section, not the chat like y'all are in right now, but if you comment in the comment section, then it gives, it promotes the video to other people, helps it get more, helps the reach increase exponentially. So I did this in lieu of a Saturday morning stream. Don C, I was unavailable. We was traveling Saturday morning, but I'll pick up right next Saturday morning with a stream that'll probably preview the Jets-Ravens game. Specifically the Jets offense against the Ravens defense. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time, man. Consider, subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already, or sharing the video on social media if you really enjoyed it once I post the video up.